It was hit by a missile. Our roof was, there's a huge hole in our roof, and the missile didn't explode. We couldn't leave that same day, Wednesday, because the fighting was really intense. I mean, we had RSF soldiers on our street. There was no way we could leave, so we had to spend the night with a rocket in our house. They picked apart our cars, they stole our petrol from the cars, so we couldn't drive ourselves out. And then we heard that evacuations were planned for foreign nationals. All of us, all Sudanese, knew the minute foreign nationals would be evacuated, the fighting would continue. It would be even worse than it was before. So that was our little, gateway to be able to get out of Khartoum and go. This is where social media really came in handy, because anyone who managed to get out would post either the number of the company they used or the number of the driver they used, or they would just give you like a debrief, like a step-by-step guide of what they did. We literally had a list of like 50 companies or 50 names of drivers, and we went through all of them. Actually, everyone was on the phone, just calling. And then you used your contacts. You would call friends, you would call, colleagues. The day of our travel, they cut the internet. There was an internet blackout. Calls were down, and the drivers didn't show up. They just didn't show up. By the time we got to where the buses were parked, it was too late. Someone had taken our place. So we had to wait until another bus showed up. We could agree on the price, and then someone will call you and tell you, I will offer you $2,000 more, and you'll drop me like a sack of hot potatoes and go with the new offer. End of the day, it's dog eat dog, demand is higher than the supply. I don't blame the drivers. By luck, we all ended up being on the same bus. The roads are really narrow, really narrow. There's no defined line. We had to rely on the knowledge of the driver. And he was like, okay, we're going to take a very, very long route, but this one has no RSF, because no one wanted to meet the RSF soldiers. That was like the number one rule. Young kids, they were just really happy to offer something to the traveler. And a lot of buses would just stop, and they would take the juice or the water, they would drink it, and they would just say thank you. They were just doing something because they felt these people needed it. And that was the most beautiful thing. It took us 24 hours to get to Port Sudan, which by plane is literally a 40-minute plane ride. The closer we got to Port Sudan, then it hit us that we made it. We managed to get out, we're safe, and we can start thinking about what's the next step to take. So the mood slightly shifted. We arrived at the same time as the UN convoy, and they've taken up most of the guest houses and hotels in the city. Foreign NGO workers, they paid, and they're staying there for a few days until they evacuate them all. Sudanese don't count. It really hit us really hard, badly, that we were all leaving our homes that we've built and established, and we're leaving it all behind, and none of us knew if we would ever go back to it. We still don't know if we'll ever go back to our homes. Will they still be there when we come back? No one knows.